topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Sorry to interrupt, Steve-O. I can't hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to W4CY.com and W4CY Radio. This is Ask the Expert show, and right soon we will have Steve-O right here with you. And while we wait, we'd like to remind you that, again, this is...
How's that? Here we are.
There we go. Hey, Steve.
You know, we do a live show, and I got to tell you, when you do a live show, things like this happen. I was just saying how we are so excited. We have a new expert. Everybody has been asking for us to bring on a public insurance adjuster. And here, hey, we're in South Florida. This is hurricane season. And we are going to spend the next 25 minutes educating you on what a public adjuster does. We're so excited about our new expert. Let's bring on Jason Saka.
Good morning. How are you today?
Hi, Jason. Am I pronouncing your last name right?
You are. You are.
Jason, you're with People's Insurance Claims Center. And wow, we're in that season right now, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the heart of it. September, tends to be a pretty busy month. I think we've been okay so far, but as it gets later, you never know what's going to happen. So you got to be prepared.
Jason, I hate to say this, but we are so due. We have spent the last, at least 5-6 years getting ready. They tell us a hurricane's coming and we get ready and then it ends up going somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago we had the one that hit the West Coast, but over on this side we seem to be okay. There was people that had some kind of damage, but yeah, thank God it wasn't anything major for people. I mean, even though I make a living off of this, I don't want to see a disaster in my backyard either. It's not exactly it's not my style, There's plenty of other business, claims we can do other than hurricanes. So.
Tell us about People's Insurance Claims Center.
So we've been in business for approximately 25 years, servicing South Florida, and we are public adjusters. So for those of you who don't know what public adjusters are, we're basically the middleman between you and your insurance company. And the idea is to have representation when you have a claim, because a lot of times people have damage and they call their insurance and they don't know how to present the claim to the insurance company, or how to explain their claim, or how to negotiate. And it could be detrimental to their actual result and what they expect to receive. Insurance companies have adjusters that work for them. So it's important to have somebody working for you that can, represent you properly and make the case for you. So that way you can get your home, repaired and put in pre-loss condition.
Well, I got to tell you, about 20 years ago, Jason, I actually had a claim and I wasn't real happy. I tried to handle it myself. First mistake. And I was getting nowhere. And a friend of mine said, why don't you get a public insurance adjuster? And of course, like most people, I go, what is a public insurance adjuster? But I got to tell you, what they did for me and what a company like yours can do for somebody who's got a claim in, They were offering me about $10,000. I had a major flood. The public insurance adjuster in Texas got me right at about $80,000. What a huge difference a public adjuster can make.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised, and it's not just about getting you the right amount; it's about getting you coverage also. Because a lot of times people make the claim, and the insurance company, asks these roundabout questions, and maybe as a homeowner you don't respond in the way they want to hear it, and then they think it's long-term damage or something that's been happening over a period of time, and they may even deny your claim, and then once your claim is denied, it obviously becomes more difficult to fight it and to deal with it. So I always suggest if you have damage, call the public adjuster first. Let us come and look at it. And also, on the same token, we also could avoid you making a claim. Meaning, sometimes people think they have the biggest claim and it's covered, and maybe their policy doesn't even cover it, or they have limits and stuff. And as much as I don't love to go to a house and not do a claim, if there's nothing there, there's nothing there, and we're going to be honest with the person in terms of the value of the claim and whether it's worth filing or not. But you don't want to file a claim if you're not going to get any money out of it either, because then next thing you know, you have a claim, and then the insurance company thinks you have a problem, and you didn't gain anything out of it because you had no coverage. So why would you even report it or deal with it to begin with? Or what if you had a limited water damage of 5,000 and you had a very big claim? Maybe in that respect, maybe you're going to say, hey, for $5,000, I don't want to deal with it. But a lot of people don't know how to read their policy. They don't know what's covered, what's in and out. That's why we also offer here a free policy review that we do with our clients. We can, even before a problem happens, you can call us, you can email us, you can send us the information. We can let you know what your insurance company covers and doesn't cover. So that way, if something happens in the future, you realize, what you can claim and what you can't claim. You don't want to find that at the point that you have that big flood in your house, that you have a water damage exclusion either. If this is something you could prevent by, checking your policy now and getting the adjustments made for the future, then obviously that's the best idea, because you're paying for insurance. You don't want to be limited either. You want to get what you pay for. And I've seen it all too many times. People pay, they think they're getting full coverage, and they have water exclusions, and they could have gotten a better company for less money with better coverage. So it's like, but if you don't know, you don't know. And that's why, we're experts at this. We've been dealing with this for over 20 years, and we can help you and guide you, to do the best thing for you.
Jason, are you've been doing this for a long time. Are you surprised that people really don't know what's in their homeowners policy?
I am surprised, but I'm not surprised. I mean, when you open your policy and you have 85 pages of language there, nobody really is reading through every in and out of it. But, just on the surface, on the declarations page, you would expect things to be there, exclusions and limitations, but instead they have endorsements, and then those endorsements are coded with letters and numbers, and you have to kind of look through the policy to find that page that relates to that endorsement to see what they've added to your policy or taken out of your policy. So I'm not surprised. I mean, look, this is something I do for a living, so I'm versed in it, and I know it. It's like, are you surprised if you have a problem with your car and you're not a mechanic? You don't know what to do, how to fix it, or what to do. You call a mechanic. So it's kind of the same thing. When you're having a claim, you're having damage, call an adjuster, call an expert that can help you and guide you and look through the policy correctly.
Well, we just got our first text. This is Mary Ann. Thank you so much for bringing this show on. Does your expert work with homeowners? Homeowners. Oh, they're HOA condo.
Well, the way it works like this: if you live in a condo, it's important that you carry your own insurance for inside your unit to cover your damages if something were to happen. But we do work with condo associations. There's a lot of times where there may be a loss in that association. The association hires us. We dealt with condos, apartment buildings, anything commercial related stuff. We can deal with anything, not too big, not too small. We handle everything from the smallest claim to the biggest claim. But the associations could have the opportunity also to hire us. The management companies call us, and they help us, because if let's say a pipe or a roof issue in the building occurs and multiple units in the building have damage, the association covers drywall typically, right? So it would be important for the association to make the claim against their insurance and get the drywall covered, and we can help with that and get the roof and things like that. So, every case is unique. If you have specific questions, you can feel free to call me, and I'm happy to help you and see what I could do for you.
We're actually running the phone number on our scroll, but if you're listening on radio or on the podcast, it's 305 525 2903. And I always tell people that you want to write this down because you never know when you're going to actually need this. And Jason, people think about, flooding in the house, but there's so many other things that you do.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's fire damage, smoke damage, vandalism. It's if your air conditioning leaks and damages your floors, that might be covered. If you have a bathroom that backs up and there's water coming out, in an unknown place, that's covered. A lot of times people have a shower pan, like a stand-up shower, and they might start to discover water damage on an opposite wall, like on a baseboard or in the drywall. That might be indicative of a problem. So, there's multiple things that can go wrong in your house. The older the house, the more likely you are to have a problem. But it doesn't mean like on a newer house that you won't have an issue. I mean, I know people that bought their houses a few years ago, brand new construction, and already having leaks of some sort. So, anything can happen at any time. We're here to help you identify what's covered, what's not, and what the best thing to do for you is. Because even you might have a leak. Let's say you have a 2-story house and the bathroom upstairs leaks downstairs, and you have damage to the ceiling underneath, right? So people are going to say, oh, it's just the ceiling, I'm not going to bother with it, right? But it might not be the ceiling that's leaking. It might be something that's, in the wall upstairs that's leaking through the ceiling that might involve ripping out the bathroom and tearing down the ceiling. So, everything is subjective, and having somebody that knows what they're doing to, present the claim and to see whether it's worth it is clearly a benefit. But you can, feel free to call me. I'm happy to discuss and go and check out your situation. And we don't take any money up front to do this. We work on a percentage of what the insurance pays you. So no recovery, no fee. And, I don't charge to take a phone call. So if you have questions or concerns, feel free to call me. The number below and the number that Steve gave out is my cell phone number. So I won't answer the phone now because I'm here live. But if you do get my voicemail, please leave a message or text me, and I'm happy to call you once the show is over and to discuss it. And, clearly keep my number handy if something does happen in the future as well.
Just got our second text. Great show. Does your expert handle the West Coast of Florida also?
Yes, we're licensed in the state of Florida, so we'll go, anywhere from, the Miami area all the way to North Florida. I mean, clearly it depends on the size of the claim and what's involved. But we did work extensively on the West Coast after the last hurricane that happened in 2022. Yeah. And, we do business over there, and we have, people over there as well.
This is from Jack in Deerfield, wants to know, do you handle businesses?
Yes, I do. I can handle, commercial claims, business interruption. Because, somebody maybe has a store and they have a flood or a leak or something, and then guess what? Their business is closed for a few weeks, and, they might be able to claim loss of income, but they might have merchandise in their store that's damaged, or their build outs. Maybe their floors or the walls got damaged. I mean, even if they don't own the building and they rent the space, if they put, if they installed the stuff in that space, they might be entitled to get, paid for it on their policy, depending on the coverages they have. But yes, we do deal with commercial, residential. We deal with condo associations. We deal with any kind of property that you can imagine. We can deal with it. Nothing's too big or too small for us.
What are some of the common misconceptions about public adjusters, Jason?
Well, I don't like to speculate on what people say about us, but a lot of times people think that you're paying somebody for something, and you're not, why pay if you could do it on your own? And I mean, we could show you statistics of claims that we've done and the difference in the amount of money we've gotten for people, and even people that have made the claim on their own and gotten denied, how we've been able to get it reversed and help. So they think that their insurance company's on their side and that they're going to pay them what they're entitled to. And unfortunately, especially in South Florida, that's not the case. Even if you hire me, there's no guarantee you're going to get paid. I mean, they may say no, but the one thing I can tell you this, I'm not going to give up on you. I'm not going to say, oh, they denied your claim. Have a nice day. We have ways to go about it, to fight it through mediation or legal means. We always want to fight for you and make sure that you get paid for what's there, assuming that there's a covered loss and it's something that you would be entitled to. And we're only going to take the case if it makes sense for you. I don't care how small the case is. I've taken cases for $2,000 and people say, why do you take a case so small? You're not making any money on it. And I say, you know what? It's all about building connections. I'd rather take the smaller case and the guy has my number. And then later on, when he has a bigger case, he's going to call me. So it's not only about the money for me. It's about really helping and being there for the community and getting them what they're entitled to.
Jason, we just got another text. So you do handle another one wanting to know about businesses. Here's another one wanting to know about the West Coast. I guess they're asking about Orlando and Tampa, and you answered that also. I got to tell people, these insurance companies are not your friend, correct?
I don't believe that they're our friends. No, not at all. Not after doing this for over 20 years. I can't tell you that,
Their job is to pay you the least amount possible.
Listen, I'm not going to directly say that they do that, but what I will tell you is this: is if they miss something, it's their benefit. So if their adjusters come out there, they look at what's on the surface. They don't look what's behind. They're not looking for damage. They're looking for what they see. Somebody might have a leak in their ceiling and they figure, oh, we're just going to pay you to paint the ceiling, but they don't realize you got to do drywall, you got to do insulation, you got to do other things, texture. There's so many line items there. You have to take out the light that's in the ceiling and reinstall the light when you're painting. So it's not so simple. So everything is subjective, but clearly if they miss something, they're the ones benefiting, not you. So it's better to have somebody on your side that can identify it and point it out and make sure it's included. So that way there's no, back and forth later on, that you get what you're entitled to from the beginning.
What about mold, Jason? Can you do anything with mold or mildew?
Well, yes. I mean, if you have a covered loss to your property, most policies do cover mold. It's typically up to $10,000 of remediation costs based on that, right? So if you have mold just because you opened the door one day and you saw there was mold by itself is not typically covered unless there's some kind of trigger first. So something had to have happened to result in the mold. So a lot of times people see mold and they don't really see what caused it, or they don't pay attention to what caused it, and they file a claim, hey, I have mold. But you have to be able to identify what caused the mold. So let's say you had a hidden leak somewhere, and now that caused the mold. We can help you identify, hey, look, there was a hidden leak here. This caused the mold. And assuming they agree to cover the loss, then they would have to agree to cover to remediate the mold as well. So yes, that is something that's typically covered under the insurance.
And what should people, we just had someone ask us a question that if you have a public adjuster that you're not happy with, can they, I guess, get rid of them and come on with you?
Well, it depends on what stage you hire them at. The state of Florida has different, laws as to when you can get out of a contract, depending on whether it's like an emergency situation from like a storm or if it's a regular claim. Most public adjusters that I've heard or dealt with, they don't, forgive the expression, they like to hold their claims hostage. They don't like to release it once they've started. It's unfortunate that people do that, but you know what? If somebody really has a bad taste in their mouth about a company that they're dealing with, why would that company, not let them release themselves? And listen, things happen, and circumstances change, and people want to get out of a contract, but unfortunately, the contracts are pretty tight. And if you don't cancel, per the time of the contract, they don't have to give you a release, but there may be ways that you can get out of the contract if they didn't fulfill their obligations. So if you're stuck in a contract with an adjuster and you didn't, you think they did something wrong, give me a call. I can give you advice and help you. I just had a client recently in the Pompano Beach area, and she hired a public adjuster, and the guy was very sloppy. He didn't do what he needed to do, and things happened. And there was certain legal aspects of the contract that he had to comply with in order to, present the claim, and he breached his own contract. So we were able to help her, navigate it and get out of that contract and take over the claim. And fortunately, we've been pretty successful with her so far and getting her insurance out there and taking care of things for her.
Jason, we have a major iguana problem, and we have had people write us about damages iguanas have done, and of course also termites. Do policies handle that?
So, the animal damage is not normally covered, but it's a tricky situation, right? Termites, they're not necessarily covered, but if termites caused something to collapse in the house or something like that, and the termites were hidden, then there would be possible coverage. I mean, I had a case recently where somebody had a house on a crawl space, and it seemed like termites or something might have eaten up the wood underneath. And one day they're walking and the entire floor of the house collapsed. So we were able to get that covered. But like if there's just like termite damage and they want to just claim like wood because it's been eaten by termites, it's not something the insurance typically covers. And and if iguana or an animal, is eating through the attic and stuff like that, it wouldn't be covered. But if an iguana came in and bit a pipe, and the pipe broke and flooded the house, then the pipe broke. I mean, so you might have coverage for that. So it's it really depends on the situation.
Jason, we have a couple minutes left. I want to ask you probably the most important question. Why should I hire your company?
Why should you hire my company? Well, number one, we've been in business for over 20 years. So we have the experience, a proven track record. You could feel free to look us up on Google. You could see how many, 5-star ratings we have. We're A+ in the Better Business Bureau. And we have a very good resume of companies that we've dealt with that we're happy to share with you, known, corporations that have hired us, public places that people have been to that have hired us. I mean, we handle it all, not too big, not too small. We handle everything, and we run our office with integrity and trust, and we have a good staff of people here that can manage and give you the proper customer service and give you the information you need when you need it. And, we're there for you. At the end of the day, we want to respond. We want to give you good customer service because we want you to come back or refer somebody. And, businesses that treat their customers correctly, they typically last. We're not a fly by night. We didn't just get, licensed a year ago and we're running around because there's a hurricane and then we close up shop. This is not how it works with us. We've been here long enough and we have a proven track record. We'd be happy to help.
Let's give everybody your phone number again and your website address.
Okay, my number is 305-525-2903, 305-525-2903. And our website address is piccfla.com. That's piccfla.com. So that's Paul, Indigo, Charlie, Frank, Larry, Apple.com. piccfla.com, like Florida.
This was your first show. What a great job. It goes by fast, but Jason will be back again with us next month. Thank you for all the people who texted your questions in. And let's just hope no hurricanes, right, Jason?
No hurricanes. Not in my backyard, that's for sure.
Okay, great job.
A tropical storm might not be a bad idea. We can get some people some roofs paid for.
I hear you. And that'll do it for us today. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back with you again next week. We got some incredible experts. Thanks again for tuning in. See you next week.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.